All right, so I'll speak a little louder than I have been on the last few videos, but sometimes it's late at night and I try not to make too much noise. I'm going to talk today about something I'm getting a lot of feedback with a lot of comments, and that's people don't feel empowered to be in a position to tell the employer to say, hey, this is how it has to be done, and I'm sacrificing quality for time. Let me give you a few things that might assist you in asserting your own position when you tell the boss, I need more time and this is why, and I'm not willing to negotiate with you about it and this is why. And if you don't have some of these things to stand on, he's probably not going to listen to you. You might lose your job. So you want to go to him and be in a position to where you're going to be heard, but because, like I've talked about, Noza, you've shown value. All right. These videos kind of have common themes, if you'll notice. I'm going to tell you stories. I wrote down just some examples of things I can just reference real quick and tell you quick stories about. So the first one is being called the effing prima donna by a lead tech, or not lead tech, but he was the service advisor at night, I guess. You know, he did run the shift as a foreman, but he was not. He came to the dealership with a toolbox that was literally this big and never really gained much technical proficiency, but he kissed butt really well, got himself a good job, and he was now in charge. He came to me one day and he gave me a wheel seal to do. And, you know, hour and a half. I was going to bang out the wheel seal. This was in, I don't know, maybe 2005, early, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm doing it. And I look down and I see the paper on the work order says that he only gave me like a half hour or even an hour. And so I told him, I said, hey, can you make sure that in the future, man, that I get enough time to do these jobs well? That way I don't have to lose my ass for my work versus build. We talk about that common theme. If I'm there, I have to bill the hour, right? If I'm going to ask big money, I got to make big money. So he called me an effing prima donna, and the next day I went into the service manager's office and I told the service manager that he wasn't giving me enough time to do these jobs, or this job in particular, and we got into this argument. And so he was called on the carpet and he was chastised for not giving me enough time. See, I knew I was in the right. That's what I'm trying to get at. When you know you're in the right, it's okay to stand for it. Know what your general manager wants and support his needs. If the service manager or anyone, service writer, is stepping outside of the big boss, the one who's going to approve your check, don't like stab him in the back. That's the guy you're working for. Everyone else is working for him as well. And if they're not willing to do it his way, then he needs to know about it. And you also should be able to tell people that's not the way we should be doing it. That's not the way it's done here. And asserting yourself is not an easy thing to do. But I'm going to go down this list and you're going to understand like some things that really are empowering. So what level of skill is your job requirement? Are you doing jobs outside of your job requirement? And that kind of lends to the next one. But this means that you're willing to challenge yourself and do the work competently. But are you even able to do the jobs within your job requirements? And if you don't know, you need to ask your bosses and say, hey, can you give me a printout from corporate or whoever explaining very clearly what my job duties and requirements for me earning the pay that I make are. And then you want the next one up so that you can start training for that and ask next time to be paid accordingly to what you rate. So support documents. This is, okay, in the Marine Corps, support documents matter, a ton, right? Everything that you make a claim of, you better be able to support with a piece of paper. So if you have a disability, you have to attach it to an actual document that says you were injured in the military. If you have, whatever. I don't get any disability, but I do know that they're very hard pressed to give it to you until you can really support that it happened. So if you are on the shop floor and you think you're making this dude a bunch of money, but you can't support that it happened, then it didn't happen. Just shit didn't happen. So get the documents, get the paperwork, collect your every month, print out your labor dollars, show them and be able to represent. I know what the numbers are here, and make sure they're being accounted for on the shop floor daily, because you're going to attribute that to somebody else and they're not going to hook you up on the back end. They're not going to make sure you're okay. They don't really care about the hours that you work, provided they get their cut of whatever you worked. I'm just telling you from a mechanic and then watching management and how it has to play out. Service writers don't have you in their best interest. They have their own pocket in their best interest. And they're going to disregard repairs they think they can't sell because they don't know how to sell them. And you as a mechanic could easily sell them because you know they're quite important. But they'll sell oil changes all day and these things that are petty and don't make money at all for anybody. I'm not striking out against service writers, but I've said before, they're the most important person inside of that dealership. So 1630 Marines. So we call them 1630 Marines. If that guy every day at 4:30, he's ready to go home. He's done. He's taken off his blouse, his trousers, his boots, and he's not a Marine. He is a civilian at 1630. If you are that guy, when the boss asks, hey, who can help, man? I got shit, this has to be done by tomorrow. And you raise your hand and go, I got you, man. Got you. You go write that down in a book and say, I had him. All right? Date. The next time it happens, bro, got you. I'm here. You don't think that when you stand up for yourself and you assert yourself, hey, man, that there's not a rapport established between you and that manager, that you're the guy who cares? He knows that when you're saying, hey, we shouldn't do it this way. I mean, you see me, I care, man, but just trust me on this, all right? You've got to establish that between your superiors because they don't understand what you do. So trusted. This is important because I was asked to go do recalls on fifth wheel jaws, and I had to set them all to 5/30 seconds specification, and I had all the tools, and I was given the instruction on how to do it, and I was sent to do all his recalls. But imagine the trust that he had in me by sending me to do that. And he didn't send just everybody. The reason why he sent me to do that isn't because it was a difficult task. It wasn't. It took a half hour or so, and it was just a recall. But he did not send someone out to do the most pivotal part of holding the load to the semi-tractor all willy-nilly. He sent it the guy who he trusted. Okay, so when he trusts you, he's going to listen to you as well. You have to become invaluable in some way. If it's electrical, if it's engines, if it's running a dyno and figuring out problems, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's changing frame rails or whatever, steering, suspension, power steering, diagnosing using pump analyzers and these tools to be able to efficiently diagnose power steering. There's a lot of work in steering and suspension for trucks, right? It's a lot of load shifting. That's a continuous job. Someone gets really good at that and they can be known all over the nation. So, but you can't get rid of him. And yeah, he just does alignments, but you can't get rid of him. He has a little bit of a weight, a little bit of leg to stand on it, and a little bit of, he's got a little pull. So you want to become faster without ever sacrificing quality. That's how you do it. And I think that the best way to do it is establish a rapport with the people who you're going to have to tell, I need more time, or we need this part, and I'm not going to just get us by this time. What you need to know is this. You need to cover your ass. That's the last one. There's a chain of blame. There's a chain of blame. And if you want to cover your ass and he's telling you to do something you don't think is safe, you get a piece of paper, you write down, on this day, I was asked to do this repair by this human, and here's his signature and mine stating that this did in fact happen. He won't sign it and he won't tell you to do it. You have to put him up against the wall sometimes because you are the duty expert, and never forget that. You, not your employers. You are the duty expert. Because you have to put your name on that work order, and when the shit comes out, and when it all comes out in the wash, they're going to find your name on that work order. Okay. Stand behind your work, do good work, and keep watching the channel. Thank you. Like, subscribe.